What's going on, pilots? Warren here with Banana Hobby. Today what we have here is the new XflyModel Twin 40mm F-18. So with this model, you're looking at a fuselage length of 38 inches. The wingspan is 27 inches. It does come with two 20 amp ESC and then two of the 5500 kV motors. So all you need to get this model in the air is a 4-channel receiver and a 4S 1300 to 2600 milliamp LiPo. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's in the box of this new XflyModel Twin 40mm F-18. Alright, so let's go ahead and start unboxing this new jet. So beginning with the manual. So I've already pretty much cut up the tapes to make the unboxing a little bit more expedited. So along with the kit is a decal sheet, so you can basically pick out whatever tail number you want on this jet. So I did get the Blue Angel scheme, so now you have the option of putting on whatever tail number you want based on your favorite Blue Angel pilot or Blue Angel aircraft. Next is the instruction manual. Now I've already looked through the manual, and there's not a whole lot of assembly involved with this jet. It's just a couple of screws for the wings and then the horizontal stab, and then you basically put on your nose steering hardware and then put the landing gears on, and you're all set, because everything is pretty much done for you from the factory. Now, first item we're going to take out is the wing of this jet. Take a closer look at that paint job. Very well done for a model of this size. Now, as mentioned, everything is pretty much done for you at the factory, so all your decals and your servos, control arms are already pre-installed for you. Alright, so this is the right wing, and here is our left wing. Look at that finish, guys. It looks pretty cool for a model this size. Now this is, I don't know if I mentioned it already, a full flying stab. So here is your horizontal stabilizers. Now typically with model these size, you don't normally see full flying stabs, so that's a plus with this kit. Alright, next item on the unpackaging is the bag of miscellaneous hardware. So you've got your hardware for your nose steering, there's your control rods for your elevator, set of Allen keys, and then your fixed landing gear. Now it does have a removable magnetic nose cone, so that makes transporting this plane a little easier. Even though it's a small jet, it makes it a little easier if you have to take the nose off, or if you have a not so great landing and the nose happens to hit the ground, at least it comes off and not destroy the rest of the fuselage. Looks like we've got a carbon fiber wing spar. And then that's pretty much it. Got a Velcro strip here. Looks like the last item to take out of this box is going to be the fuselage. So let's take a closer look at this thing. I'm just going to set this aside. Take a look at that, guys. That looks pretty cool for a model this size. You even got a pilot in there in the cockpit. The cockpit tray looks pretty detailed for this tiny plane. So flipping the model over, you have your access hatch to where your elevators are installed, and then also where you're going to be able to access your twin EDFs. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. There it is. So we got our twin 40mm EDF set up here, and then you've got your cooling vents for your ESC. There are 20 amps in there. Take a look at the battery tray. Alright, so it comes with an XT60 connector. You can always swap that out if you are not an XT60 fan. And then basically that is your compartment for your battery tray right there. It almost looks like about the same size battery tray as the Xfly Twin 40mm F-22. So let's go ahead and get this thing put together, so get it all mocked up so you guys can see how it looks. And then let's put it side by side with the F-22 Raptor, because that was actually a really cool plane also that Xfly came out with. So let's go ahead and start putting this thing together. Alright, so let's begin the assembly of the F-18. So first thing we're going to do is install our carbon wing rod or wing spar. Now I did have to fish the servo leads out of the fuselage And then we're basically going to, let's slide the wing spar in place first, and then make sure we have the correct polarities on our servos. Now there is plenty of room in the fuselage in this little channel here for you to tuck all these wires in. So we're going to do that. I'm going to shove some of those wires back in there. Make sure we don't pinch any of this wire. Alright, use my driver. There we go. Let's flip this jet over to make it a little easier because the screws actually get mounted from the bottom. Should have done that in the beginning. Alright, cool. So let's plug this in. And then tuck all these wires into the fuselage. Alright. Almost there. Almost there. Let's see. There we go. Alright. Now the next step is going through your accessory bag. You have 4 of these M3x10 screws that goes into the slots. So you do have an extra one in the bag. So that's always a plus when they give you an extra hardware. So we're just going to button these screws down. Tighten it down. Now you don't have to over tighten this. You don't have to hawk it in there because it is plastic. So you don't want to crack that plastic piece. Alright, so the next part is to install our horizontal stabs. So they just basically slide into place on this rod. Now there is a flat spot in place, so you want to make sure you align that with your hole, because we're going to take one of our M3x12, I believe this is, and this is going to be a Phillips driver. Just going to lock this in place. Oop. Let's give it a quick tug, make sure it didn't come loose. Alright, so we are ready to install the other side. Again, line up the flat spot where the hardware is going to be screwed down to. Looks good. Hold that screw in place. Fasten this down. Alright, so the next thing we're going to install are these 2 control rods that's going to be on the elevator. So we're just going to set up in place. Sweet. Alright, got my ball length pliers here. There we go. I'll install the other side. May have to remove some of this paint that I actually got on the ball link here, and that just to make it easier to slide your control rods in the ball link. So I mean, it's coming off with just rubbing it off with your fingernails, but you just want to clean some of that off. I think that should be good. I am installing it on the outermost hole on the servo arm, because the most inner is going to rub up against the fuselage. Alright, so that one actually went in a lot easier than the first one. So let's go ahead and flip this jet over so we can install the nose gear, and then we can work on the mains after. Alright, so the next part is installing our nose gear. So you're going to retrieve your plastic bushing that comes with the kit, and that's going to be installed into the landing gear, and then we're just going to slide this nose in place just like that, and then we're going to flip the plane over. Alright, let's remove the canopy really quick. Now if you built an Xfly model in the past, you should be pretty familiar with this part, with assembling the hardware for your nose steering. So you do have that little pin right there, and that's just going to fall right into the slot where the where the servo arm is. Alright, so now let's flip this jet over to install the main landing gears. So all it is just taking your main gears and you're just going to slide this into place until it locks. Alright, you hear that click. Then we'll install the other side. There we go. Now we can flip this plane over. Set it on its mains. We're going to install the nose cone. So there's no wrong way to install this. There's a little flat spot on one side of it. So that's going to be pointing up. And then there it is. So take a look at that, guys. That is fully mocked up, ready for a receiver and batteries installed. The paint job on this jet looks freaking awesome. I like it. And especially it's a Blue Angel scheme. So I haven't decided what tail number we're going to install in this jet yet. So let's go ahead and put a receiver in here and a battery and get the control throw set up. Alright, so all of your servo leads are pretty much labeled. You got aileron, rudder, elevator, throttle, so pretty self-explanatory. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug in all the appropriate leads to their channel. We got our throttle. And then here is our rudder. Now there is no rudder, but it's mainly for your nose steering. But on the servo lead, it is labeled as rudder, but just... Alright, so all I'm going to do now is test to make sure all of our control surfaces are operating in the right direction. Alright, so we got aileron, needs to be reversed. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Aileron moving in the right direction, elevator, correct direction, rudder, correct direction. And there's our fan. So last thing we're going to do is install our Velcro for the battery. So I already have a Velcro strap there on the bottom of my battery pack. So I'm just going to put this in the battery compartment and we're all done. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finalize the receiver and then put the battery in place and check our CG. Alright, so that was the complete unboxing and the assembly of the new XflyModel Twin 40mm F-18 Hornet. So let's talk about the rates and the CG on this model. So for your ailerons, you're looking at 9mm on low rates. And then on high rates, you're looking at 12mm. For your elevators, it's 12mm of up deflection and then 14 on high. And then for your nose steering, it's 50% of your throws and then 70 on high. Now as far as CG, from the leading edge back is 53mm. So when I measured it, it came out to about 1.5 inches of the forward screws on both sides of the wing. Alright, so it pretty much CG's pretty neutral where it's at right now, and then I'll show you guys in the battery compartment where my 4S 2200 milliamp LiPo is currently positioned at. So it's currently right there, maybe about 2 inches off of that forward bulkhead, and then there's actually more room back here for a larger pack, such as like a 2600, which is the maximum recommended battery for this jet. So we're pretty much ready for the maiden flight of this F-18 Hornet. I will see you guys on the runway.